When it comes to affordable watches, one of the most interesting brands that I've come across in recent years is Merkur. Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I am talking about watches, and I'm talking about another watch from Merkur. Merkur is a brand that is made in China, but it's a little bit different from some other Chinese brands. Because not only is it affordable, but they're also really well made, and they are original designs, or at least they are mostly original designs. They are not one-for-one copies of other watches. They may well be inspired by some occasionally, but you can say that about most watch brands. And the watch I'm going to be sharing with you today is the Merkur Red 12. Named because it has a Red 12. And this one, I didn't actually have to purchase myself. This one was supplied to me by Merkur, which is why you would have seen that sponsored icon pop up. And that's why I'm going to leave a link to this watch in the description of this video, both to the Merkur website, but also to the Aliexpress store where you can purchase this one. And if you do want to buy this one, well, it's $99 US. Now, often you do get some discounts, especially from that Merkur website. So if you are going to buy one or any of their watches from their store, make sure you apply one of those discount codes. But for now, I want to flip the camera and show you this watch in a little bit more detail, because this watch has some really nice details that may make it worthwhile checking it out. So let's flip the camera, let's check it out. When it comes to Merkur watches, and this one in particular, the Red 12, they have quite an interesting proposition going on, because I think they're very good looking watches and they're affordable and they're worth considering. And on paper, this one is exactly the same, because it's a 38mm case diameter watch with 50 meters of water resistance. It has a hand winding M01D mechanical movement, which I'm not actually 100% sure what that is. And of course it comes with all this bits and pieces of paperwork in this very, very nice case. And we're still going here, and it's a really cool travel case. But of course we are here to have a look at this watch and have a look at actually how good looking it is, because not only is this somewhat of a dressy watch, but I think it's almost an everyday dressy watch, and I particularly like everyday dressy watches. And just to be nice and bright and colourful, it also comes with this NATO strap, which I don't foresee myself using, but I do foresee myself wearing this watch because of the dimensions. Because the case of this particular watch is 38.3mm, it has a height of 13.6mm, it has a lug to lug of 46mm, 20mm lug width, and on the supplied strap that it comes with, it is 68 grams. But it's the dial that has really captured my attention. It is this silver, beautiful looking dial. And this silver, it has two surfaces to it. It has an outer ring, that large circular pattern, which is all brushed, or it has like a circular grain to it, which gives you a real good reflection of light, which I really enjoy. And that circular round disc is more of a matte silver. You'll see then you've also got those 4 applied indices or numbers, the 12 being red, the others being silver, and they are all polished. And I love the font that is used. I think it looks really cool, and being applied really gives an interesting element to this watch. The hands are another interesting element to this watch, because they are blue. The minute, hour, and second hand are blue, and of course they're very unlikely to be blued. They are blue, not blued, but I do have other watches that have blued hands, and I can't really see that much of a difference. For an affordable watch, I think that blue treatment, whatever they've done to make them blue, has been done pretty well, and I think it looks great. And being blue against that silver background gives you some good contrast, so you get actually reasonable legibility from this one. But there's no lume, so it's only legible with some light on it. Everything else on the dial is printed on in black, including that very outer minute track with some slightly heavier marks at the hours, this rather interesting circle with extra lines out for those hours, cross hatch of course, which I do like these cross hatches on dials, this sort of pointer on it, gives a really cool, interesting element. Merkur, some French there, under there, and I think it just all looks nice. Being without the date as well, I think gives you a nice, clean, symmetrical look. Now that dial is covered by a mineral crystal, not sapphire, and it's like a boxed, single domed. Has a real sort of halo effect to it, because it sits quite high above that case. But it feels nice and it suits the watch. And if you've ever owned a Merkur watch or you've watched other reviews of Merkur watches, you've probably seen this case before, because they do reuse their cases, which I'm actually perfectly fine with. It means it's a good case, good shape, good size, and then they just swap out the dial. So you get a variety of different watches in this nice size and this all brushed case, which steps down a couple of times, which I think gives a real interesting element to the case. Drill lugs, as you can see, unguarded crown, and it does have that sort of Merkur M on the crown. Now, as I mentioned, this is a hand-winding mechanical movement. I've already fully charged this, so I'm not going to turn it any further, but I can say that there is no ghost position, but I can also point out that there is no hacking. This movement is described as the M01D, as an in-house mechanical movement from Merkur, and I'm not quite sure what that means. I can't find exactly what that is, so we're just going to have to call it the Merkur movement. But these Chinese movements I do find interesting to stick on my time grapher to see how they're performing. So let's see how this one is performing. So when you see a set of figures like that, you're not going to be impressed. But please keep in mind, I'm not sure what the lift angle of this particular movement is, and that can affect the figures a little bit. But in my experience, they don't affect it that much. So let's just go with what's in front of us. As you can see, 21,600 vibrations per hour, way too much of a beat error. That should be under 1, and we're looking around 4 to 5. Amplitude is actually not too bad. Rate is way beyond what I would like. The good thing about this one, and the good thing about having a time grapher, is I may be able to get into the back of this watch and see if I can adjust that a little bit, but not the best result, unfortunately. So it is obviously worth keeping that in mind if you end up buying one of these watches. So putting those figures aside, let's keep looking at the watch, because the Caseback has the line on it, which I actually quite enjoy. It is the same Caseback that is on almost every Merkur watch, and the same strap that I've experienced on a couple of Merkur watches as well. It's black, it has a leather lining, it has a slightly sort of squishy feel to it, it's soft, it's perfectly fine, but it's certainly not the strap that I've been wearing this watch on. But because this is the one that it comes on, I just wanted to show you quickly before I swap it over. Nice, simple sort of polished buckle there, which doesn't really suit the watch either, because that is brushed, which is one of the other reasons why I've been not wearing it on this particular one. But realistically, it's a good little easy placeholder whilst you find yourself a strap that you like better. And having quick release spring bars makes it easy to swap it over to another watch strap. And on that original strap, as you can see, even though I haven't worn it, it conforms to my wrist very quickly and easily because it is nice and soft. So even though it's fine, and even though I haven't been wearing it, I just wanted to show you quickly it on the original strap before I swap it out to the one that I've been wearing it on. And it's amazing how a nice quality strap really elevates the whole on-wrist experience of a watch, because I've been wearing it on this amazing sailcloth strap from Artem. Great straps. Around the same sort of price as the watch, however, so worth keeping that in mind. However, it really makes a big difference to the on-wrist experience, because it makes a really cool watch just so much better. I've been really enjoying wearing this watch and pairing it with this Artem strap. So what have I liked about this watch? What don't I like about it? And what do I change? Well, the two things that I love about this watch: the size. I think this is a great size watch. I like the on-wrist experience. On my medium 17 centimeter wrist, I think it fits really well, and I love the looks. That silver dial, I seem to have a thing for silver dials, but I like the contrast between the two types, and I love those applied markers, and that pop of red is fantastic. And I like the hands. I think it looks really, really cool. And I like it whilst wearing it on this Artem strap, which is probably one of the things I don't like about this watch, that strap. I don't want to go on about it because it's actually perfectly fine, but I just find on a good quality strap really elevates the watch. But the thing that I guess I probably don't like about it is that performance on the time graph. I don't think anybody's going to be overly impressed about that. But I do keep in mind, when I do consider affordable watches, that I actually don't need them to run perfectly. I know they should, and you really should, if you're spending money on a watch, especially a brand new watch, should expect a certain level of performance, but it just doesn't really matter too much to me. But I certainly understand why that may be a factor, and probably will be a factor, deciding on whether you buy one of these Merkur watches. The other Merkur watches I've had have not had time grapher results like that one, so maybe I got a bad one, or perhaps maybe this movement should be sort of bought with a little bit of sort of knowledge about it, and perhaps maybe I've given you a little bit more about that knowledge of this watch and that movement. And at that 99 US dollars, that is worth considering, because you can buy lots of watches for 99 US dollars, especially from Aliexpress or on the used market. But for this one, initially, I thought because of the looks, because of the size, I really thought that was well priced. When it arrived, I really thought that was well priced because I'd really been enjoying this, and I haven't noticed those bad sort of time grapher results whilst wearing it. However, at that price, I would hope that the movement would possibly be running better. I don't expect them to be checking or QCing the movements though, so that is a problem with buying affordable watches in general. So let me know what you think. I'm assuming there's going to be some comments about those results. After you leave a comment, however, maybe watch these videos next.